Well, good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. I am happy to have you here. I'm Kerri Garbis with Ovation Communication, and we are your hosts for the next 20 minutes. We are very excited. This is our first Ask an Expert webinar, and honored to have as our special guest Puffingston, specifically Luke Goetting from Puffingston, and I'm going to have him introduce himself in just a moment. But both Luke and I are here to talk about visual storytelling for sales success. Ovation is going to hit the why you should do it, and Puffingston is going to talk about the how, because they are visual experts and they're going to help you put the wow into your presentation. So again, feel free to ask any questions, make any comments in that chat box, or use the hashtag #AskAnExpert, and we will get to all your questions and comments. If you spent any time with me on webinars, you know that I love an interactive session. So thank you so much. As I said, and perfect timing, Luke, to show my picture there. I'm Kerri Garbis with Ovation Communication, and you can see we have Luke Goetting, who's the founder of the fabulous Puffingston. And for those of you who don't know Ovation Communication, we're a communication skills training firm. We specialize in presentation skills, storytelling, and emotional intelligence. So essentially, we teach business people in any field how to convey their message more effectively. And with all our trainers being professional actors like me, we focus on the delivery side. So we ensure that our clients are feeling prepared and confident to be the most engaging presenters, storytellers, and communicators with their audience. What we don't talk about much are presentation visuals. This is not our gig. So today I brought to you an expert, because what we want you to do when you're storytelling, especially in your sales meetings, is to wow your audience. And while I wholeheartedly believe that stellar delivery, the stuff that Ovation Communication helps with, can get you a lot of business, having fantastic visuals to enhance your delivery is just the ultimate combo platter, which is why we thought it made sense to bring Puffingston on and give you some of that go-to for visual storytelling. So we are certainly honored to have Luke Goetting here from Puffingston as our guest. Luke is going to wow us with the how, as I said, of visual storytelling, and he uses Prezi. They are Prezi experts, and I'm excited to learn a lot. So I'm going to hand it over to Luke to give himself a quick introduction, and then I'll take it to the why. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thanks, Kerri.
You're
Again,
welcome.
my name is Luke with Puffingston. We specialize in presentation design, and we also do training for programs and platforms like the Prezi platform. So I will give a little longer intro when I get to my content. So let's just go ahead and jump into this thing and get into the why of storytelling in sales conversations. So back to Kerri.
Thank you very much. Yes, so Ovation's taking the why side of things, and a lot of times in Ovation's training, we talk about why stories in presentation. And while a lot of the why I'm going to talk about right now, why it's important for the sales cycle, it's the same reasons why we tell stories in presentations. Today is just focused on the sales cycle side of things. So why is storytelling an important part of the sales cycle? I'd love to hear any thoughts you might have. Just throw it up in that chat box. But essentially, we've got a pretty good list here for you. Storytelling influences behavior and communicates value proposition effectively. Remember, storytelling, and we certainly have a ton of information if you want to deep dive into this a little more on our website, but storytelling is all about emotionally connecting with your audience. So rather than just throwing out facts and figures, you're literally activating a different part of somebody's brain that helps them feel something. You're connecting with them emotionally. So therefore, it can deliver thoughts and ideas and perspectives more easily. And also, you can convey some pretty complex concepts and ideas effortlessly through storytelling. It doesn't have to be so academic. Storytelling will also help you showcase your product's strength with tailored examples, and it can also challenge without negatively affecting the relationship. Meaning you can present a new idea that maybe is different from what your prospect is thinking. Maybe it's a different route than they had a plan to go, and this information can be presented in a very positive light, and they won't feel so assaulted by your information. Just some of the reasons why storytelling is an important part of the sales cycle. So why use it during the sales cycle? Well, again, this is all about emotional connection. So here's 4 big reasons why you want to use it during the sales cycle. Storytelling quickly can build rapport much more easily than simply rattling off some facts or some benefits or some features. You can easily create excitement for new products and strategy. Again, effectively can connect during negotiation. How nice would it be to have a little more a warmer room when you're getting to the negotiation point of the conversation? And stories absolutely effortlessly can change the mood and the energy of the conversation. If you feel you're not getting to a good place with a prospect or you're getting way off track, take a break, rein it back in with a story, and have them focus back on you, on your product, and on your service. So that's just some high level stuff about why storytelling during the sales cycle. And now is my favorite time. I get to sit back and listen and learn of the how and how we can wow our audience doing some visual storytelling in Prezi. So with that, Luke, I hand it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kerri. We're definitely excited to partner with Ovation because a lot of the themes and concepts that they portray from the why perspective, we believe translate perfectly into the how. So we are going to talk about that today. And one of the things I get frustrated with sometimes on webinars or presentations is if all the talk is very high level and it does not include examples or tangible action items. So that's what I'm going to work my hardest to communicate today. So really quickly on me, background, I'm the founder of Puffingston. I spent 4 years as an outside sales rep. I was presenting sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, and audiences would range from 50 people to the one-on-one types of meetings. I'm pretty quickly through that experience, I found that visual aids could be very beneficial, but also could be detrimental when not used properly, specifically just throwing a bunch of text kind of haphazardly on a screen. I also learned that it's important to have presentation visual aids that work well on projectors and computers, as well as for your small group meetings on tablets or in some cases even on smartphones. So through that experience and working on presentations and seeing how audiences reacted and having that interest, started Puffingston. So we specialize in presentation design and presentation visual aids. We work with PowerPoint, and we're also an expert company in the Prezi platform. The origin, for some of you wondering, what is Puffingston? What does that even mean? Well, it's actually a love story, but it's a love story that started in middle school with one of my friends making fun of my brother and saying he was in love with his teacher. And he said that he was in love with Mrs. Puffingston, which was a horribly botched way to say her name, but in any case, we thought the word was fun, and we eventually nicknamed my little sister Puffingston. And now she's still in college and still in my family is known as Puff, so it's become somewhat of a family brand. So that is what a Puffingston is. There's a fun story to kick this all off. So that's a little bit about me, but I really want to focus today on examples of presentations in action. So I've picked out 5 real-world case studies to share with you today and give you some ideas, and really hopefully this will be something that you can communicate and inject into your presentations. So our first one is a company called Card Integrity. We were working with them on a presentation for a trade show. And our starting point in this case was pretty much just we had their logo and we had a theme idea. It's hard to see the leaves when you're looking at a forest, and you'll see what we were able to put together with our partner Card Integrity for this one. So we talked about value proposition with Kerri, and what we like to do is kind of create a problem statement up front that will later allow us to inject our value proposition or kind of explain our value proposition through this initial problem. So in this case, this was a card expenses type of company. They helped companies manage their expenses. And we built on the theme of this owl and card integrity and the forest for the leaves metaphor. So we started off with their owl sort of in a little bit of a forest scene. And we used the leaves to demonstrate the vastness of expenses. And we continue to build out this metaphor. You can see it's very visual, very photo-based, and feels like a story, almost like you're flipping through a picture book. Again, it's hard to see the leaves when you're looking at a forest. You see all these leaves on a variety of trees. And then we actually broke the presentation into 5 categories that you can see on the bottom right there. We're very big on visual agendas to showcase the information. We would then focus in on specific leaves for the presentation content. And again, Kerri talked about excitement, mood, energy. These are things, some people, not me of course, but some people may think expense processing is not the most exciting topic, but you can use your visuals to really help still be energetic, bright colors, large text, not just bullet points and lots of icons, etc. that you can see there. And again, to bring it all into one story, at the end we kind of conclude. You can see how our story unfolded. You can, it relates back to the business opportunity at the trade show and hopefully led to a sales rep at the show handing a business card to that interested prospect. So it's a great example of taking a very minimal logo and theme idea and really building it out to a pretty elaborate story and design there. Want to jump into another example here. This is a company that did search engine optimization. These were some of their starting slides that we were working with. Relatively well designed. The problem was it wasn't still a consistent story. It was sort of a random collection of slides. Some of them were themed in one way, some were in another way. It didn't really all come together. It didn't feel cohesive throughout the experience. So again, we talk about this problem statement or opportunity statement. In this case, the opportunity was 80% of consumer spending takes place within 15 miles of the home. So for brick and mortar companies, that is an especially important element. And so then we built this big picture concept for them based again around this visual agenda, 3 sections, research from Google, research from Forrester, and a showcase of their particular platform. Very visual, feels like a story. And then even as we move through the presentation, a lot of times people might start with a well-designed kind of home page, so to speak, but then they quickly just fall back on their bullets. And so what we do is throughout we are relating back to that visual metaphor from the beginning. We built our section headers off of the map concept that's very relatable to the audience, and we were able to showcase those 3 in the way you see there, and again make it feel like a story that's flowing through each of these destinations. And lastly, again, bringing it all together at the end. In the foreground on the smartphone, you'll see that the presentation is actually featured on that screen there. And then we use the tablet and the computer to demonstrate subtly the cross-platform versatility that they were also was kind of an underlying theme of this application. So here is an example of another story that flows, and you can see very visual and put that together there. All right, so those were both kind of conference presentations, maybe a little bit more high-end, and many of you might be thinking, okay, my presentations are much more about specific products or specific services. How do I inject storytelling into that? This is an example here of a premium pool company, and these are some of the starting slides that they were working with. Like many salespeople, they were guilty of getting kind of bogged down in the details and really forgetting the big picture concept here. So you're talking about they were taking these customers through this presentation, focusing on the different plumbing elements of the pool, the pumps, all kinds of lighting elements, railing, all kinds of stuff, and a lot of photos of those particular products. Was not, again, you see on these handful of slides here, really hardly any photos of pools themselves. So what we wanted to work with them on was how do we inject storytelling in that? And again, we started off with a visual agenda. Yes, we're going to take you through various products, but we want to show you what's the point of us doing this. Well, you see that beautiful pool in the background. That's the point. You're going to kind of be guided through this process, and you'll hopefully end up with a great experience and a great pool for your house, or in some cases businesses, at the end of this opportunity. Again, even when we got into the subsection, this one was quite a lengthy presentation. So instead of just going through slides that seem to have no context and are never ending, we try to show where they are. They're going through filters. Okay, next we're going through timers. We try to let them know that they're progressing through at a pace that they can kind of really feel like they're going along for the ride instead of being run over. And now you can see on some of these other slides here, we tried to make sure the pool was a constant element. So even when we were talking about drains or getting into different types of courts for the bottom of the pool, we wanted to make sure we had fun photos of pools, and in this case, products that this company offered and actual designs that they had created. Very visual. The particular pieces of the experience were still showcased, but the underlying theme of, hey, we're trying to create this great pool experience for you is what it was left with. So this is something, obviously luxury pools are some great photos, but this is something you can inject into all of your presentations. You know, what is the point? What is the end game? How is the customer going to be happier from this experience? Keep that in mind and figure out ways to inject that throughout the presentation, not simply having at the very end, okay, here's 5 or 6 photos of our product or platform in action. You really want to have that be a constant throughout your presentation. And just to wrap up, we've got a couple brief examples here. Those we talked about storytelling throughout a whole narrative of a presentation, talked about storytelling, injecting stories throughout. I also like to mention the story kind of your brand. This was an IT consulting company. They did high-tech IT work, and their starting point was a very template-driven, very standard-looking PowerPoint. So we worked with them to redesign it into something visually attractive, really felt high-tech-y, and allowed them to showcase the story of their brand throughout the presentation. This was Viking Corporation. And then a company, one of our recent success stories, Pop-Up Play, where they actually had a lot of great photos, but what their company did was they allowed young children to go on a tablet and actually design kind of a cardboard cutout and then order it, and it would arrive and they'd be able to actually color it in the real world. So their slogan, kind of from design to reality, and the underlying theme of imagination. So what we did is we took some of their photos, and you'll see on the bottom and on the right there, we actually put elements of imagination, the dragon, the unicorn, the clouds, to help them really inject the spirit of that brand and of the story of that brand. The imagination meets reality with Pop-Up Play. This is one we worked on just recently here in Austin, Texas for South by Southwest. And on the right there, you'll see this company, Pop-Up Play, that ended up winning their category of the accelerator. So that was a really exciting collaboration for us, and you can see that crazy-looking trophy that they got there. Excellent. So there's 5 examples, real quick hitting for you. Hopefully that gives you some inspiration on ways you can either inject a story throughout your presentation in more of the card integrity style, using the pool example to have stories and photos that you can discuss throughout the presentation, or kind of the story of your brand as it plays out with Viking in Pop-Up Play. So with that, looks like we're pretty much on time. We will conclude here, and I want to also just say both Ovation and Puffingston As a thank you for attending this webinar, you'll have some promotions available here. In the terms of Puffingston, if you are interested in a presentation design or a training, throughout the month of May for attendees of this webinar, we will be offering a discount. So please reach out to us if you are interested in that, and our contact is there. And I will throw it back to Kerri. So again, thank you everyone, and hopefully you got some inspiration on ways you can tell your story.
Thank you, Luke. That was fabulous. Yes, thank you to everybody who attended. We'll certainly stay on and chat for a little bit. If you have any questions or any comments, we're happy to talk about those, but certainly take advantage of these, I think, generous offers on the Ovation side. If you're looking for storytelling ideas, where's the best place in the presentation for me to tell a story? What are some good stories for me to connect back to my material? Definitely take advantage of the 15 minutes with me. We'll just do some brainstorming and see what we can come up with. And on the Puffingston side, I think this is extremely generous and would be very helpful to take your presentations to the next level. So by all means, let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to follow up directly. We hope this was helpful and you'll be able to take a couple very helpful things back to your lives, your work lives. Hey, use it in your personal life. I don't know where in your personal life you're doing a Prezi, but go for it. So thank you to everybody. I got to see some really nice familiar names. So thank you to, and some new names as well. So thank you to all who stopped by. I happy to answer any questions if anybody's got any. All right, well, we'll definitely hang out for a couple extra minutes if anybody wants to chat. If not, thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, and we hope you found our quick and feisty Ask an Expert series, installment number 1, helpful. Let us know if you have any other ideas, anything else you'd like to see. We want to provide information that's helpful. Thank you so much. Have a terrific day. And Vina, thank you for your question. I sent you a note back. Why don't you email me? My email's right there on the screen, kerri@ovationcom.com. Let me know exactly what you need and exactly what you're looking for. Thank you, Jean, for coming. Nice to see you again so quickly. Let me know if that is helpful.